The White Death, a silent killer across history. The White Death has been stalking us since humanity began its story. From the earliest days when we tamed fire to the dawn of civilization, this disease has accompanied us like a persistent shadow. In 1815, it caused 1 in 4 deaths in Britain. Over the last 2 centuries, it has killed 1 billion people, more than all wars, pandemics, and natural disasters combined. And today, it remains the deadliest infectious disease in the world. But here's the big question. Why do we rarely hear about it? I'm talking about Mycobacterium tuberculosis, the bacteria responsible for tuberculosis, or TB. 1 in 4 people worldwide is infected with this bacteria, meaning you could be one of them without even knowing it. So, how is it possible that something so deadly is practically absent from our conversations? To understand how we got here, we need to travel back in time. For centuries, tuberculosis was seen as more than just a disease. It was almost a cultural phenomenon. In the 19th century, tuberculosis was known as the romantic disease. Those who suffered from it, poets, writers, and artists, were idealized for their pale, slender appearance, which was considered a sign of sensitivity and creative genius. Famous figures like Edgar Allan Poe, Emily Bronte, and Frédéric Chopin succumbed to this disease. However, the reality was far from romantic. The overcrowding, poverty, and poor ventilation of the Industrial Revolution turned cities into fertile grounds for tuberculosis to spread. Entire sanatoriums were built to treat the sick, with rudimentary methods that provided little relief. But what makes tuberculosis so dangerous and persistent? Mycobacterium tuberculosis is the perfect predator. When it enters your body, usually through the respiratory system, it settles in the lungs, a living system filled with natural defenders like macrophages. These cells are the guardians of your immune system, designed to attack and destroy invaders. But TB has a trick up its sleeve. Instead of being eliminated, it uses the macrophages as its home. It has a thick, waxy coating that makes it immune to the acids that normally break down bacteria. Not only does it survive, but it transforms the cell into a perfect host, replicating slowly and going unnoticed. This creates a dilemma for your immune system. When it can't eliminate the bacteria, it tries to contain it. Granulomas form, small bubbles of dead tissue that encase the bacteria. But here's the problem. These bubbles aren't a definitive solution. In some cases, the immune system fails and the granulomas burst. This turns your lungs into a battlefield. Dead macrophages, bacteria, and inflamed tissue fill the lung cavities, making it difficult to breathe. Active tuberculosis is devastating. It causes high fever, extreme weight loss, and a severe cough that is often accompanied by blood. And here's the irony, that cough is TB's strategy to spread. Millions of bacteria travel in tiny droplets of saliva, infecting others. In the past, active tuberculosis was nearly a death sentence. Today, we have antibiotics that can cure it, but the treatment is long and complicated, leading many patients to abandon the process before completing it. Although tuberculosis can be treated, the problem remains vast. In recent decades, the lack of access to medications and the improper use of antibiotics have led to the emergence of multi-drug-resistant strains, MDR-TB. These strains are a reminder that tuberculosis is not a problem of the past. According to the World Health Organization, multi-drug-resistant TB is one of the top threats to global health, with treatments that are longer, more expensive, and less effective. The impact of tuberculosis varies greatly by region. In developed countries, TB is nearly eradicated thanks to effective public health programs. But in places like Sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, it remains a public health crisis. Poverty, malnutrition, and limited access to healthcare create a vicious cycle. The most vulnerable populations are the least equipped to fight the disease. Furthermore, tuberculosis is often linked to HIV/AIDS. People with weakened immune systems are especially vulnerable to developing active TB, making this combination a double threat. Despite these challenges, there is hope. In 2012, 2 new classes of medications were developed after decades without significant advances. Additionally, new vaccines are being tested that could offer more effective protection, especially for children and adolescents. Science is advancing, but success depends on something more. Awareness. If more people understood the severity of tuberculosis, we could mobilize resources and political will to fight it. Every day, 4,000 people die from tuberculosis. But it doesn't have to be this way. We have the tools to change this story, but we need to act. Visit Partners in Health at pi.org/programs/tuberculosis to learn more about how you can help. We've also included a link to a crash course lecture on the history of TB. Share this video, like it and subscribe. Together we can amplify this message and contribute to eradicating tuberculosis once and for all. Humanity has faced immense challenges before, and we've always come through. The White Death has been a persistent shadow for millions of years, but it's time to write a new chapter. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of one of humanity's most important stories. See you soon, and until then, let's keep discovering the stories that truly matter.